Our world is growing exponentially. With breakthroughs in technology occurring all the time, electronics getting smaller, and people being connected more than ever, it's pretty clear we're headed towards something. A number of futurists and tech scientists alike believe that something is an event called the Singularity, an event in which computers become so fast and intelligent that they begin to be indistinguishable from human consciousness. The idea of computers with the capabilities of humans is both scary and intriguing, so how do we get to the Singularity? Is it even a likely scenario? That's what we're going to find out on this episode of Stuff You've Probably Wondered. The term singularity describing self-upgrading, human-merged technology was first coined in the 1950s by a man named John von Neumann, a mathematician, physicist, inventor, and polymath, meaning he was well-versed in every area of mathematics. Clearly the right type of guy to be thinking about the progress of technology in the far future. Also around this time was a British mathematician named I.J. Good who described an intelligence explosion, a scenario where humans create computers that are so intelligent that they mimic human consciousness, and that computer creates another computer that is more intelligent than it, and that creates smarter ones still, and so on and so forth. Thus, Good refers to these ultra-intelligent machines as the last invention that man ever needs to make. However, if we want to talk futurists who have been making real strides toward the singularity, we can look no further than Ray Kurzweil. Kurzweil was destined to be one of the most brilliant minds of the 20th and 21st centuries when he created a computer that composed its own music and mimicked the sound of a piano all the way back in 1965, a long time before the first personal computers ever existed. From then on, he became more and more ambitious, creating text-to-speech technology, speech recognition, and of course wrote several books on artificial intelligence and the coming of the singularity. Kurzweil is so sure that this techno-transcendence is going to happen that he predicted that humans will experience an intelligence explosion by the year 2045. Probably a lot sooner than you were expecting, huh? Well, according to Kurzweil, the evidence for such a near date is right in front of us thanks to Moore's Law. Moore's Law is an observation noted by Gordon Moore, one of the co-founders of Intel. According to the law, the processing power of circuits in tech like microprocessors doubles every 18 months due to the number of transistors in them. Transistors are devices that switch electronic signals, effectively going on and off, to transmit information. Every year they get smaller, so while the first ones were giant things in glass domes and the first computer-applied ones were casings the size of the quarter, these days transistors are about 45 nanometers across. By comparison, the width of a human hair is roughly 0.18 millimeters, or 180,000 nanometers. By this logic, if the trend continues, we can expect real exponential growth, and 2045 is looking a bit more plausible for the singularity. Through this law, Kurzweil has also created his own observation, the law of accelerating terms. Taking a number of variables like the prices of materials needed to make electronics, their processing power, and average bandwidth speeds, Kurzweil sees another similar curve to Moore's law, but the distinction is that this curve continues climbing in the expected way regardless of how the world is doing economically. The idea of a singularity has been spreading within the last decade. Launched in 2008, Singularity University in the heart of Silicon Valley is a 10-week program for postgrads and business executives created by Kurzweil, of course, and his colleague Peter Diamandis. Their aim is to educate and prepare their students for the incoming singularity through courses on new technologies, biology, and new business strategies to account for the rise in technology. Singularity University has been backed by Google CEO and co-founder Larry Page himself, and thus pumped funds to continue their program. Not surprisingly, people are terrified of the potential for a future where everyone is connected and machines rule the roost. Some skeptics don't even think it'll happen. Psychologist Steven Pinker says that this is just one of those futuristic fantasies you read in pulp sci-fi magazines. Like underwater cities and jetpack commutes, the singularity is going to be considered a laughable prediction in the future. Other critics say that because computers were never designed to have motivation, autonomy, agency, or even the classical definition of intelligence, we can never achieve these things in the future. And to an extent this is true. We've created plenty of supercomputers in the past that create the illusion of being intelligent, almost to the point of actual consciousness, but in reality supercomputers are really only masterful of one area of human-level thought. Take for example Deep Blue, a computer created by IBM in 1989 meant for one purpose: playing chess. In 1996, Deep Blue played against world chess master Garry Kasparov and won the first game in a 6-game match. Kasparov won the tournament 4-2, but in 1997 a rematch occurred and he lost 3-2. Another example is Watson, also created by IBM in 2004. It was made specifically to answer questions on Jeopardy, and in 2011 it won a game against the two highest winning contestants on the show, Ken Jennings and Brad Rutter. But again, like Deep Blue, this computer only had one purpose. It only gave the illusion of having human-like intelligence. The thing is, even though people like Ray Kurzweil are certain that the singularity is coming, there's still no real way of knowing for sure. It's entirely possible that something as complex as the human brain can't be replicated in digital form. Even though the amount of data existing on the internet is about 500 times more than all of the data making up human DNA, 500 terabytes compared to 1.25 million terabytes, that doesn't account for the brain's ability to make connections or think critically. Regardless of how we advance ourselves in the future, we'll still be the same old humans that we always have been, and no amount of silicon merging will change that. Thanks for watching, and as always, if you have any questions you want me to answer or have an original song you'd like me to put in the background of a future video, leave it in the comments or email me at stuffyou'vebrobablywondered@gmail.com. Also in the comments, share your thoughts on the singularity. When do you think it might happen? Will it be beneficial or harmful? Either way, I'll see you next time on Stuff You've Probably Wondered.